So, it's just been an entirety of cope ever since Trump did the not so great thing of, well, going back on his promise of transparency and just being your savior, essentially, because that's pretty much what it was. He campaigned on saving America and saving you. President Trump, save us, where's, the meme came from. Unfortunately, little by little, you've been seeing that that's not really the case. In this case, however, it became kind of more apparent considering, we're dealing with something revolving, pedophilia. You would think that it's a high priority for all these righteous, right-wing, practicing conservatives, Jesus, right? And especially people like Daddy Jim, who just on a whim will call you a pedophile if he doesn't like you, kind of like Nick Rekieta would do. And, just numerous amounts of people. This would be their high priority, getting the Epstein files, because it would solidify who you should prosecute, who you should direct your anger towards, if you really care. That's the key phrase here. If you really care about the safety of the children, the virtuousness that you try to present to the public, if you really care about that, if you're really authentic, if you actually have that principle, well, this would be a big deal to you. On the flip side, if you're full of shit and you just purely pretend, all right, then, this is probably one of those moments where you're just like, this is just somebody not getting what they want. You guys are just so black-pilled and doomerish. Can't we just appreciate what Trump's done? I don't know how many idiots fall under this category. My issue is that you guys aren't honest about it. You guys are pretenders trying to flip this script as in, oh, it's not a big deal. Children being touched isn't a big deal. Daddy Jim is in one of those little existential crisis modes because he sure as hell doesn't know what to do. He's been Mister Metokur, right? James Augustine, the guy that got my account suspended for saying that I was doxing him when I wasn't. Amongst other things, got upset at me, attacked me or whatever, right? James Augustine over here, right? Mister Metokur having a little bit of an identity crisis now. He is the prime MAGA fellatioer, right? Definitely, he is the culprit of and the embodiment of a lot of idiocy. Idiocy. That's a new word I'm making up, okay? Idiocy is the common term, but, on the internet. Rampant, reactionary, idiotic, low IQ individuals. To Jim's credit, he wasn't always like this. Maybe as he grew older, he realized, what is the point in putting effort or critical thinking into this where I could just get away with just saying random, reactionary, stupid, low IQ shit in this time period and get away with it? That's probably his mindset if I'm to give him the benefit of the doubt. Because all he ever does is fellatio MAGA. All he ever does is fellatio Trump. Any time there's anything negative to be said about MAGA, Daddy Jim goes freaking quiet. He probably retreats to his lolicon den, which there's nothing wrong with that, And Daddy Jim likes to get off to these animated kids. It's his priority. There's nothing wrong with that. They're drawings, right? As Reb says, DC would say. And now that we've officially come to the agreement that universally nobody, well, for the majority, the higher ups, right, don't care about pedophilia. I guess like the silver lining for lolicons over there is that nobody should care about their shit anyway, either. It's all a fucking lie anyway. So, but Jim is right there to go ahead and do this rhetoric, this pro-MAGA rhetoric, where it's like essentially hate the brown people and hate the libs. That's like the most general way of looking at it. That's really what it is. You can try to technicality weasel your way out of it, a la Nick Rekieta or Legal Mindset, but at the end of the day, that's just what it is. And here you go with the fellatioing of Trump. Unanimously, this is what it is. This is what it's about. Jim will go ahead and laugh at this. Again, the same guy, same people that claim to be about the children. We gotta save the children. Is just going ahead and saying this about, oh yeah, let's remove children from their parents. Like, I don't care if that's how you view things. I'm just pointing out the irony here. All right, so before anybody's like, oh, you feel bad, it's like, no, I just don't care about anybody, really, to be honest. I'm just pointing out the facts that you can't refute because they're right in front of you. All right. So again, another fact here, Jim wants to pretend, like he's the virtuous, like a lot of Kiwi farmers, and my children, we better protect the children, when they just use the children as a tool, essentially. Again, the fake virtues, the fakeness of it all and stuff. And it's pretty much why Jim's an approved target in my book, along with Kiwi Farms and anybody that's, just egregiously over the top fake and just egregiously over the top lies. Understand human nature. Sometimes you do it, but when you do it this blatantly and you do it this shamelessly and you're just overall a piece of fucking garbage that just loves to punch down, I see no reason why I can't make you an approved target. So that's why Daddy Jim is an approved target, and that's why people like in the Kiwi Farms are approved targets. Anytime you do this kind of bullshit, you will be an approved target. And whatever that means, it's a pretty vague term for a very good reason. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to go ahead and point out all the hypocrisy of it all, right? You got a general understanding of where Mr. James Augustine, Mister Metokur, stands on this whole thing, and we pretty much gotten and ascertained that he is essentially a MAGA fellatio machine, the ultimate PR magnet, the definition of propaganda. Spread all your positivity about this false movement while completely disregarding any faults of it. Classic propaganda strategy. I was taught it by Kiwi Farms early on when I was 17 years old. So, again, not much has changed. They knew what they were talking about with that. Jim Metokur just applies it on a wider range. However, when it comes to this, certain things, he just can't avoid it. Unfortunately, there is some things he just can't. And when it comes to the Epstein files, the files of pedophilia that have all the pedophile elites. You know how the left and Daddy Jim always wants to portray the left as pedos? Like every fucking day, every fucking moment with libs of TikTok. Now you have like a certified power move by Donald Trump confirming that he's either defending pedophiles or he is one himself. Or, I'm sorry, the official term would be ebophile. That's what Donald Trump would be. Not a pedophile. He would be an ebophile because these targets would be above the age of, or around the age of 16 and 17. Which, that's a whole new can of worms. You guys can go make pro-ebophilia arguments if you're in MAGA at this point, whatever. It's just, what are even the rules, man? But again, people like Jim, people in Kiwi Farms would still be about the children at 16 and 17. So despite of your weird age of consent laws, other places, the people that would virtue signal about this would have a hissy fit over anybody else doing this, especially if it was the left. But now, when it comes to this, there is no outrage. There is no anger coming from the MAGA fellatio machines like Daddy Jim, Cat Turd, Gunther Eagleman, Yellow Flash, the list goes on and on. They all cry, I want to save the children. Some of them cry about Lolicon for some fucking reason. But no, when it comes to this, oh God, everybody loses their pair of balls like Yellow Flash. They go quiet. They have to have the neutral take, guys. Or they have existential moments like Daddy Jim over here where he's asking the big question. He's asking the questions, guys. All right, the old man is asking the questions. Are you really going to let a goofy fucking degenerate like Jeffrey Epstein tarnish the momentum you had? That's a very generous way of fucking calling a sex trafficker, Jim. Considering you harp about the children. Let's save the children with a Superman cape all the time. Along with all the Kiwi farmers, etc., etc. I just choose them because they're the primary culprits of this. They're the ones that love to use that as a defense, kind of like their whole public information gathering as a defense. If you're going to use something as a defense and you're going to be notorious for it to weasel out of anything, yeah, you're going to be right there to be pointed out and shamed, all right? So again, people like this go ahead and, the children, let's save the children, right? Nick Rekitis, danger to the children. Patrick Wilton's a danger to the children, which he probably is, to be fair, but still, you get what I mean, right? I mean, when it comes to the Epstein list that's being hidden by Donald Trump, who Donald Trump is now claiming is a Democratic hoax, right? The thing that Donald Trump was using to attack, other people, that he was promising, that he ran on, that he campaigned, and he said, promises met, promises kept. Oh my God, you guys are fucking stupid. The lowest of the low IQ, brother. All right, and before anybody comes in, like, with a lolicon avatar in their fields after they goon to, like, I don't know, their lolly of the week. No, this is not me making a defense for the left, so go back to gooning to your animated children. I don't care if you do it. It's fine. It's a drawing, but, like, stop acting like you have the high ground when you're doing this shit, okay? And a lot of you are, like, 30 years old, so please fucking stop, all right? Otherwise, you're going to go be sent to my version of El Salvador, because I just can't take the disrespect from those kinds of people. It's disgusting, really. So my Daddy Jim goes on. Very, 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 very generous way to describe this guy. A legitimate a pedophile is just a degen to Daddy Jim, so he's just a lolicon to him, essentially, right? That's great, Jim. That's great priorities, you guys. Save the children, Mr. Save the Children over here, bro. We got just release all the documents related to him and be done with it. Why let this animal fuck up such a successful 6 months? I mean, Jim, it hasn't really been that successful if we're being objective here. like my one friend, all right, who's mysteriously disappeared as well after this whole thing, had gas went down in certain locations as a fucking argument, and that was debunked within seconds after I brought up the argument to a bunch of people. And then they're like, oh, just go show them this article. And, there was crickets. They left. It was gone. So, again, it's just if that's the most you got to show for this, it's pretty bad. The fucking Jesus Christ. It is not sunshines and rainbows, all right? The fucking big, beautiful bill was anything but. Let's be fucking real here, bro. All right? Again, Jim, I'll tell you why Jim can say this with a straight face. Is Jim is a fucking idiot that can go on a live stream, live off nostalgia, a bunch of the fucking NPC ants to give him money for just existing. That's literally all it is. If Jim didn't have streaming, if Jim was terminated, if Jim was a regular NPC like all of you, Jim would not be saying this, okay? Because Jim would be pretty fucked, all right? Especially with his supposed medication that he needs, supposedly, all right? So, yes, Jim would not be singing this tune if he didn't have a bunch of internet idiots to validate his presence with money that they could be using for themselves, by the way. Hilarious irony that. Anyway, Jim, I guess he's calling Epstein an animal. Again, that's a degenerate and an animal. That's what you call a sex trafficker, a pedophile. That's just so happened to have been friends for 15 years with your boy Donald Trump. That's all, right? But the conspiracies against Joe Biden and any Democrat, though, they hold up weight. Never mind the fucking relation. The closer, Jesus. Again, I present this question and nobody ever counters it because they know by opening their mouth about it, they're gonna just tell on themselves. If this was Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, or any of the Democrats, you guys know you would be crying for days, man. You just need to be honest about it. You got to stop pretending. You guys cried for days about fucking Joe Biden's supposed maybe mental health that you started making conspiracy theories about. It's I don't even care about the left or whatever. I'm just pointing out that you're idiots. What you guys... and I mean the haters and the people that get up in their feels about what I'm doing, even with the Rekieta thing, it's not to defend the person, it's to point out how you're retarded, right? It's a direct attack on you people and your intelligence or lack thereof. It's not so much to make Rekieta look like a good person, because I've said he's not a good person, he's a bad person, he sucks, he's shit. I'm not going to waste my life mauling over him potentially criminal does on a regular, to the point where he's calling him cancer, even though he enabled that cancer for the longest time. I have more of a reason to hate Rekieta, and I've let it go. So, again, I'm not going to waste my life doing that until I'm as old and fat as him. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. Sorry. But, again, it's a direct attack to the intelligence or lack thereof of the common NPC idiot that refuses to see logic. Okay? That's what it is. I'm sorry. The truth, it might not always help your narrative. I understand that. I don't feel bad about it. I'm glad. I'm glad that this makes you uncomfortable and hurts you. I can only hope that it hurts you in some way, TBH, right? Like it did with the, God, personal level. I don't know, man. It's just, you get it. I'm glad that I was able to clear that up for you. And here goes Daddy Jim with the whole tweet here, the voice of reason, President Jim save us. All right, and Jim's one saving grace is saying that you should release all the documents related to him and be done with it. Let's rip the Band-Aid right off, right? Let's rip the Band-Aid right off. I mean, Donald Trump ripped the Band-Aid with Medicaid and all that stuff, right? Why can't he rip the Band-Aid with this, huh? Huh, my MAGA friends? Huh? My MAGA friend in particular, right? Ripping the Band-Aid, right? That's what we got to do, right? We got to rip the Band-Aid. Again, it's just, if it sounds like I have so much vitriol for this, it's because I've heard these talking points that have now seem like they're... I've heard multiple talking points, in fact, to reassure my faith in MAGA as a whole, and they've been crumbled every fucking week, it seems. Not month, not every 2 weeks. It seems like every fucking week there's a new fucking bullshit problem. And guess what? This is funny. It's not even coming from left-wing media. It's coming from your own fucking circle, because you guys are a bunch of fucking goofballs that have no fucking structure, because you decided having Donald Trump in a suicide squad of people that have no idea what the fuck they're doing was a smart idea just to own the fucking libs, you fucking idiots. Alright? If you can see, I have a combination of anger, but also nonchalantness in my voice. Because ultimately, yes, I am angry that the common human person is a fucking retard. But at the same time, I'm also nonchalant enough to accept, at the end of the day, idiots gonna be idiots, and there's not really much you can do. They're gonna continue to stick their fingers up their ass and then lick the shit off and go, whoa, buddy, while they give Kino Casino thousands of dollars, again, while being oblivious to the fact that the only reason they're getting a paycheck is because they're capitalizing off bigger names than they could ever be. Again, the irony in the world is just outstanding. But let's read, speaking of the common NPC, let's read what the common NPC's replies are to Daddy fucking Jim. This person says Trump is acting like he's on the list. To where a bunch of replies were like, more likely he got the CR JFK and his brains blown out from a video that wasn't these. He's not, but he is covering for people. I knew it was going to be used for blackmail skew. Nah, that's just how he talks. If it looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, I got some news for you. Approaching the point, he is Republican and Democrat. We the people are expendable pawns who could be blah, 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 blah. That's true. Not if you consider everything from last year. If he was on the list, which he would know, he wouldn't have put himself in this position. Actually, he would have, because Trump is kind of an idiot. He puts himself in a lot of positions that he can avoid, to be honest. This is a bad fucking argument. This is a stupid, hopeful, to reassure their own fucking bias kind of argument. It's kind of like when people are like, well, if you really think about it, Nick Rekieta could get away with his sins because he's a rock star. That's the same type of argument we're seeing right here. It's fucking stupid. It's ludicrous that this was even fucking typed and people thought this was a good idea. It's still not too late as the people giving the infamous Nick Fuentes apology thing. Apparently Fuentes was one of the original people on the right that was, and he is very far right. I mean, if you guys have seen anything Fuentes related, one of the originals that were saying like bad rhetoric about Trump, they got a lot of people's attention and stuff. So people oftentimes, and I've even seen Midas Touch use Nick Fuentes as a source of, well, this guy was purely right-leaning, extremely right-leaning, and he's even calling out Trump, which, you know, honestly is fair play at this point. I mean, a bunch of idiots supported Fuentes for his ideology back then. It's only right, you know, to use this. Because he's on the list, I don't think it's over yet. Buckle up. This is pathetic. It's not over yet, guys. We've just been spat on and, you know, slapped around and demeaned like women in the bedroom, but like it's not over, guys. It's not over. And now this person, I think this is the notorious Daddy Jim cocksucker over here, is now flipping the script. Now he's turncoating. My guy thinks the Trump administration had momentum. You know, I mean, look, all I know is that this person just bows down to anything Daddy Jim always says. Like, you oftentimes, if you're on X enough, you see a lot of the same accounts or whatever, right? That say the similar talking points and stuff. I'll bet a good toe, all right? I'll bet my toe this person has been cocksucking Trump at some point and Daddy Jim's rhetoric, all right? But then going ahead and says this. Nothing he does will ever be good enough for some people because we need the likes. It's such a cope. Honestly, this is obfuscating every decent thing the administration has done to this point. The only reason not to release it is either A, Trump is implicated, or B, Trump is protecting people who are implicated. Both are equally as bad. The last 6 months have not been successful. A lot of people, even like the Daddy Jim cocksucker over here, is saying exactly what I said. Yeah, it has not been successful. All right, it has absolutely. That's like a very, very nice way of putting things. Almost as nice as how Daddy Jim wants to define Jeffrey Epstein, right? The fucking grand wizard of pedophilia. But whatever, bro. Incoming partial file release that only mentions Epstein with a 1,480 word expose saying, see, it was just him. Now can you let it go? Realistically, you could release all the data given the subject matter. There'll be endless suspicion that we didn't see it all in the matters and was released. Trump's at the top of the list because even if Trump himself isn't on it, I'm sure most of his admins and cabinets definitely is. It's obvious many of both parties are in the list, hence why the Democrats never released it. Under Biden, despite having the list for 20 years, the ding, 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 we just hit common sense. Hello. You know, it's like, guys, for some things, you're so quick to pull the trigger on things and think you're like the smartest people in the room, right? I'm talking to my MAGA friends. I'm talking to like people that just hate the left, and that's the only reason they voted for Trump, right? Thereby fucking over a bunch of other people. I'm talking about the people that know people in their lives that are going to be fucked or were going to be fucked over by Trump and still gave no fucking shits about it. Hello. It's like your common sense disappears one moment and then just reappears the other. I believe in divine justice. I believe in absolute truth. And I'm not going to be, held back by anybody or anything anymore on going and getting to the heart of the matter. All right? This is the moment. Because, you know, I had been pondering the ideology of morality being a scam, right? And, you know, yesterday it was thoroughly and utterly proven that that is definitely the case. Morality is a scam because all everybody has ever done for the Trump campaign, one of the main talking points was weaponizing the Epstein list to be good people because they care about saving the children like Superman, right? Like a Chomo Superman. We love the children. We're saving the children. You don't give a fucking shit about them. You don't give a flying fuck. You only care about what pushes your narrative, just like the people that are anti-Rekieta. You don't give a shit about whether or not Nick Rekieta fucked his life over. You just give a shit. For the majority of you guys, you just give a shit about looking better, trying to make yourselves feel better. You know, get like that nice little euphoric rub out to feel like good people. Or you just want to find somebody to attack. Just like all the people that go after lolicons, they don't give a shit about it. They're just looking for a reason to be able to attack someone else. You know what? I have that as well. I have a way to do that as well. Again, approved fucking targets. If you're going to be a piece of shit, you're going to face repercussions. If you're going to try to punch down on people that can't do anything, you should be facing repercussions. Kind of like Daddy fucking Jim. Anybody that meets this criteria, anybody that overly lies, because I understand lies are, once again, a part of life. I'm trying to make a middle ground here. Overly lies. Like, let's say, legal mindset 3 times in a fucking video, repeatedly over and over and over again, with a little smile and smirk on his face that resembles Nick Rekieta from his prime days. You are now an approved target. You guys should get what this means at this point. I don't think anybody should accept this anymore, right? I only think that people should come to the harsh realization at this point that Sen is always right. Sen will always be right, especially now. I was wondering what being 25 would do, what direction it's going to take me, and I think I've figured it out. It's going to take me to being smarter than the average retard on the internet. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm still a fucking retard, okay? Like, overdoing the fucking G Fuel, probably not the smartest thing to do, but, like, well, heart conditions, pals. But still, you know, on a goof up moments. But for this, for things like this, going to dissect it very, very critically at this point, right? I have already kind of done so, right? But now it's just been elevated just a tad more. Because again, this is another Sen is right scenario. I told you this was going to happen. I hinted at it for months, was scrutinized for months, was turned on for months by the sheeple. And what happened? Oh, I was right. Oh, boy, Trump could be lying to us? Trump doesn't have our best interests at heart? No. Guys, fucking idiots. And now, like, the new cope is just, oh, at least it's better than Kamala. It's like, yeah, you really think so? I mean, I guess since you guys are so smart to play into this trap, surely you know what you're talking about on another level. Like, again, it's just the lowest of the low IQ will always nominate the most retarded people ever. They did it with Biden. They did it with Trump. So, again, it's only going to get worse, people. Like, it's only going to get worse. Strap yourselves in for whatever time you have left on the internet, whatever time you have left in general, because you think it's going to get easier? No, it's going to get fucking worse with the algorithms and the way they go and, like, the brain skills of the average person nowadays, or lack thereof, once again. Yeah, it's only going to get worse. I mean, think of it this way. You'll probably see Mr. Beast as a fucking president at some point at this rate. Or maybe even Nicholas fucking Chad Diorio at this point. Holy shit, Chad. Bo Black just killed himself, and I'm the president of the United States. Nikki D is eating good tonight. Oh my god, biggest of sighs, bro. But here's Daddy Jim doing major damage control. This is a very cathartic video to make. Everybody, send your like if you appreciate the truth. Leave a mean comment if you guys don't appreciate the truth. Too many fucking... I mean, we'll probably go over this next week. Alright, 350 fucking comments, but you get the gist of it. I think I knocked out the better, perfect examples at this point. Have a good rest of your day, and remember, please remember, don't be a retard.